Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, love people. Welcome back to Minnie's Mental Health. How are you today? How are you feeling? Where are you around this globe? Thank you ever so much for joining me on another session of Minnie's Mental Health. Welcome. I thought I'd be outside today, because being in the outdoors, that helps me. I don't know about you, but it helps me sort of think clearly, just reflect, and just helps my mind basically. So today's topic is about performance and purpose. So which one is more important? So I like to start off by saying, as you guys all know, because I keep on mentioning it from time to time, I am originally South African, so I'm African by continent. And one thing that I do know, that being an African individual, and coming from an African background, South Africa to be exact, sort of family, especially parents, have a lot of expectation for us to perform, which is good because they want their children to be better than they were, depending, and even if they were like rich or like well established before their children were born, they would still want them to go higher basically. So I can only talk for my country, and obviously probably for the continent as a whole. If you disagree, just let me know in the comments. But one thing that I kind of got to know as time went forward, especially growing up, is that as a child of God, like, there is a purpose. God has a purpose for our lives. Usually parents or caregivers can see the talents of the child, even when they're toddlers. From when they're toddlers, obviously they can see what they sort of like, what they're good at, their strengths. It all starts from when they are very young. Pardon me, so fidgety today, but it all starts from when they're young. When they're toddlers, when they're starting out at primary school or reception, or I wonder what they call it in your country. I know in South Africa they call it grade 1, but even before that, parents and caregivers, I believe that it's our responsibility to see the sort of God-given talents, skills, abilities that our children have, that they possess from a young age, and encourage them. Not what we wanted to do, not what we can direct them. If their skill and talent, let me use a classic example, is art, we can direct them in regards to obviously opening, having like a range of things that they can develop skills in, because obviously we know artwork or being an artist is not sort of doesn't always bring a stable source of income. It depends these days. There's a lot of well-established artists, and they don't have a problem basically in their field. So I use that example because I know in a lot of African countries, art and dance and drama is not considered to be an official job or career. They'd rather their children be doctors and lawyers and engineers, people who could kind of hold a respectable status in society. Although the real question here is, especially if you are a Christian family, you believe in Christ, you believe that God has a purpose for each and every single one of us as his children. Children are a gift from him, and he wants us to sort of guide them and steer them towards the gifts and the talents that he has created. He has created them sort of to explore, to do basically, and obviously his will for their lives. So it's a very sort of touchy subject, I believe, because in a lot of families, obviously, the children, educating children, especially in different countries. I know here in the UK, education is free in terms of the primary and secondary, and in some instances tertiary education. In a lot of countries, going to school, parents, families, caregivers, they need to pay school fees. So I understand, because obviously I used to go to school in South Africa, and I remember like my parents had to obviously pay school fees every month. So you want your child to be the best, do the best, and to have the best outcome. So it's understandable. I'll still go back to my question. What is God's purpose for our lives? What are the skills and talents that He has given us? I believe as a child of God that we should encourage our children. First of all, we should get the download from God, i.e. through prayer, i.e. through observing, what our children are naturally talented in, and to sort of encourage them in that, help them build their confidence in those skills and expertise that they have really naturally, and just sort of direct them in that path. So what do you think, by the way? I always ask this. I always love to know, what do you think about purpose and performance in that, like, as children, do children have to just grow up to be the people that their parents want them to be, which is not always a bad thing, but is it a God thing, basically? Or do children have to grow up and fulfill the will of God for their lives? And if they don't know the will of God, us as parents and caregivers, it is down to us to sort of help them to identify. So we need to hear from God for ourselves, about our children, basically. So what do you think? If you're not a Christian, which I'm sure a lot of people do watch and appreciate all your support, are not, how does it work in your religion? If you're not a believer at all, what do you think about this topic? Is it about just, for example, in America, living the American dream, or here in England, like making it, basically rolling in it for the children? Or is it about them doing what they were born to do, basically? So it's kind of like a rhetorical question, but I'd like us to discuss, explore. As ever, my content is relevant. It's for you, it's for me, it's for everyone. So please do like, share, comment, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you on my next one. Thank you. Bye.